We got some Miami Dolphins trade rumors and some NFL draft rumors surrounding the Dolphins on today's show. I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Tyreek Hill, he is just absolutely obsessed with sparking trade rumors online. He does it again. We know a week and a half ago he tweeted out a couple of peace out emojis because he was feeling some type of way on Twitter, and then he backtracked and said he just likes to do some trolling. Well, he likes to do some more trolling because this Monday afternoon, he just randomly did it again. And now maybe it has nothing to do with wanting out of Miami, but he also posted a video on social media joking about getting a phone call, thinking the trade rumors are false, and then he gets a phone call and his face goes straight normal. So he's just having a lot of fun. But I just don't understand why. Like, maybe he knows that Dolphins fans and content creators are just so, fed up and so passionate that he knows he can spark intrigue and interest online. I don't get it. He literally can't stop doing these social media rumors. It's absolutely annoying from my perspective. Because here at Chat Sports, everybody asks me, did you see Tyreek Hill's tweet? And I was just like, I can't take it serious anymore. Seriously. And we've talked about this a lot. And this is for the people that may not have watched our content over the past month and a half. But I have to say this every single time we talk about a Tyreek Hill trade, just in case we get new people watching. Because I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be traded. I actually had a source tell me close to Tyreek Hill's camp that he wants to stay with the Dolphins. He doesn't want to leave the city of Miami. His family's here. They just rebuild his house. The organization likes him. He likes the organization. So to me, every time he pulls this type of stunt on social media, I know it's just for trolls and for his laughs, but it does drive me a little bit crazy. Now, I think he's not going to be traded, but from the Miami Dolphins perspective, there is a legit question to be had if he should be dealt away this offseason, and we'll dive into that in just a second. But please hit that thumbs up icon. It helps us out a ton. Plus, we're trying to climb our April Chat Sports leaderboard. Here are some of the top channels here at Chat Sports in the month of April. We are currently in the middle of these 5 channel groups. We trail Raiders and Browns, but we're slightly leading over the Jets and Ravens. So hit that like button. Help us out. Let's get to the top of this leaderboard. All right, the reason why I wanted to ask this question is because Albert Breer, an NFL insider, did have some thoughts of his own on trading Tyreek Hill. Breer said that it would be painful for sure to lose a guy like Tyreek Hill and an offense built around speed for Mike McDaniel. But at this point, with Armstead Gall officially retired over the weekend and some significant questions on the roster, the hard question they have to ask themselves is if they can win a championship with this current group. And if they can't, maybe they look to move on from a player that has the notoriety and potential a haul of a trade package of Tyreek Hill. And I don't want to be negative Nick here on today's show, but as things are currently standings with this Dolphins roster and depth chart a couple weeks before the NFL draft, there is just no way that you can look me in the eye and tell me the Dolphins can win a Super Bowl. I just really don't think you can. It's unfortunate to make that statement, but when you look at this Dolphins roster, there are major holes at 4 big-time positions. Defensive line is a major issue for the Dolphins. They only have Zach Sealer and Benito Jones. There is still no starting left guard for Miami. They don't have a boundary cornerback opposite of Jalen Ramsey, and there is still no top dog safety. I like Melifonwu. I like Davis. I like McMorris potentially to be rotational guys, but they don't have that clear starting safety. And if they can't win a Super Bowl, which I don't think they can right now, well, maybe there is a pathway for a Tyreek Hill trade this offseason. So let me know your thoughts. I kind of had this thought experiment. I wanted to ask the people down in the comments. What is the ceiling of this Dolphins team with the roster currently constructed? Could be a different answer in a month from now after the NFL draft, but as it currently stands, what's the ceiling? I said this on a mailbag we did over the weekend, but I actually think it's divisional weekend. That's the absolute ceiling. That means if everything goes right, everyone stays healthy, that is the best I think this Dolphins football team can do. And that isn't like me hating on it. It's just the truth. because of all the roster holes, how am I supposed to truly believe they can win a Super Bowl? I think they could win a playoff game and sneak in if everything goes right, be a wild card team, win one. But are they going on the road to potentially beat the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, Chargers? I don't know if that is going to be the case. But I did want to finish and wrap up the conversation on Tyreek Hill, because even though I said maybe you do think about trading Tyreek if you can't win a Super Bowl, well, the problem is that you don't really have any benefits of trading Tyreek Hill. Like, we've talked about this. He's got a $27 million cap hit this year. But if you trade him to get draft picks in this 2025 draft, his cap hit actually rises by $600,000 to $28.3 million. Now, you could trade him post-June 1st, and his cap hit goes down to 12.7, but that also means you don't get draft capital for this year, and it's a trade to help you next offseason, and it doesn't really do you any good now. And he's under contract for one more season. So that's my thing, is like, even if the Dolphins wanted to trade Tyreek Hill, why would they do it? There is no incentive to trade Tyreek Hill right now. They would get maybe a middle draft pick. I think Tyreek Hill's value is maybe a mid to late second round pick in this draft, maybe a conditional third round pick for next year's draft. But that's the thing. It would be beneficial for you next year. It wouldn't help you now. Your cap number rises if you trade him prior to June 1st. Although people want Tyreek Hill potentially gone if you're a Dolphins fan, and NFL analysts and insiders speculate a trade could happen, it just isn't worth it for Miami. There's no point. So why is that going to happen? And like I mentioned, like, there is no benefit. Like, there isn't. Second or third round pick for Tyreek Hill, is that worth it? Especially with how the cap situation went forward? No, it's not. It's just simply not going to happen. All right, we're going to transition to Mason Taylor, but we are sponsored by GameTime. I'm so happy GameTime is back. The best ticketing app, the one that I trust, and the one that I want you guys to use right now. GameTime, it has so many great features. Specializes in last-minute deals. Save up to 60% buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater. It does not matter. They have game time picks. Make last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. And there are so many events going on right now, whether it's concerts, whether it's baseball, there's still some hockey, there's some NBA. There's a lot going on. And the best part about Game Time is that you can see the price of your ticket up front when you do all-in pricing, so you don't get surprised by fees at checkout. They also have the lowest price guaranteed. If you find a ticket that is cheaper on a different app or service in the same exact seat, same exact row, same exact everything, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Go see the Marlins, go see the Heat, go see Chris Brown when he comes to Miami in the summertime. Get started today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's get over to some NFL draft rumors, because LSU tight end Mason Taylor, a fan favorite here at the channel, is visiting the Miami Dolphins, which I know will make a lot of people happy. Tom Pelissero had the note that he had a visit with the Chargers this Thursday, but also has visits set up with the Seattle Seahawks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and also a stop for his old father, obviously Jason Taylor, team in the Miami Dolphins. But there is some important news and notes to share about this visit. It is not a top 30 visit. So obviously when you hear these visits, each team gets 30 visits for prospects to come in. They get to know them. You only get 30 of them. So you really want to pick and choose when you can make these visits. But there is a special thing when a player is from your area. And that's what it is for Mason Taylor. Barry Jackson with the note. Because Mason Taylor went to school locally in South Florida at St. Thomas Aquinas, his visit to Miami Dolphins headquarters will not count as a top 30 visit. But the Dolphins did want to bring him in 2 days before their local day, which allows South Florida prospects to visit with the Dolphins, so they can spend more time with the LSU tight end. So there's clearly intrigue from Chris Grier of this Dolphins organization in the tight end, Mason Taylor. And before we talk about him more as a prospect, there is a video we are going to do this week recapping and looking at all of the Dolphins' top 30 visits that have been reported to this point. So be subscribed, be on the lookout for that video because it is a kind of a clear, at least direction of what Miami is envisioning when they're picking with their 10 selections in the April draft. So subscribe today. I know a lot of Dolphins fans want Taylor. They like to keep it in the family, and bringing in Jason Taylor's son Mason would be that absolutely. And when you look at his career, he is one of the most esteemed LSU tight ends in history. And even though the statistics aren't crazy, like a Tyler Warren or a Harold Fannin where he's put up 1,000 yards per year, LSU tight ends don't actually put up that much numbers. It's not what they do with their offense. And Taylor was very solid for the Tigers over his 3-year career. Had 6 touchdowns, had 1,300 yards. But the reason why Taylor is such an intriguing NFL draft prospect, likely to go in the first 3 rounds, is because he has good hands, he is physical, but he's got a great size and athletic profile. He's 6'5", 250, he's strong. You look at that bench, he's got some strength to him, but he also was very good in terms of his straight end speed. A 4.68 was an 8.49 on the RAS score. So this is an athlete in Mason Taylor. And whenever you talk about tight ends with the Miami Dolphins, not only do you have to discuss the ability to catch, run routes, and be a difference maker in the passing game, but we know Mike McDaniel, he requires his tight ends to block in the run game specifically. And with Mason Taylor, I think his run blocking was adequate enough for LSU in his career. Now, over the past 3 seasons, it went up or went down, up, down in terms of his PFF grades in 59.6, 71.9, 59.1. But you see it in his film. You see it in his tape. He is a willing run blocker. He's got good strength and speed combination, where I think with better coaching and better technique at this next level, he could be one of the better tight ends in the NFL at both in the pass game, but also more importantly in Miami's case, the run blocking game as well, because the offense is so predicated on tight ends being able to do that for Mike McDaniel. So let me know your thoughts. Keep it in the fam. Do you want to draft Mason Taylor? I expect to see a lot of D's in the chat for the draft because Dolphins fans love these, I guess, family members of former Dolphins. So let me know your thoughts down below. Mason Taylor is visiting the Miami Dolphins. I know he's got relation to Jason Taylor. I don't think it's the smartest thing to draft Mason Taylor. I would love to do it. I'd love to keep it in the family. And tight end's an intriguing position for the Dolphins. But the truth is, Taylor is going to go top 100 in this draft. The Dolphins have 3 picks in the top 100, 13, 48, and 98. The issue, they need so much more at other positions. Defensive line, safety, corner, offensive line. What would be the point of drafting Mason Taylor in the top 100? I just don't think it benefits your football team in 2025, which is why I love Mason Taylor as a prospect and would love to see him in a Dolphins uniform. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. You have a solid room here. You have Jonnu Smith, who is coming off a franchise record season in both receptions and receiving yards for a single year. Julian Hill, I know we're not the biggest fans, but he does serve a role and he knows this Dolphins offense. And you signed Pharaoh Brown to compete for that tight end 2, tight end 3 spot in NFL free agency on a 1-year deal. So if you told me the Dolphins drafted a tight end to compete for a tight end 2 or tight end 3 spot in round 4 or 5 where they have 2 4th-round picks, 2 5th-round picks, yeah, I would believe you. But the problem with Mason Taylor specifically, and it's not a problem for him, it's a problem for Miami, is that he's not going to be worth being drafted at 13. He's not going to be worth being drafted at 48, and he's not going to last all the way to 98. If he's there at 98, okay, you can convince me on taking BPA and going Mason Taylor. But I project him to go anywhere between 50 and 75, maybe 50 and 80, like in that 30 range, which is obviously way in front of Miami's 98th pick, and I do not think it's worth taking a tight end in round 2, especially with all the needs the Dolphins have. So unfortunately, I don't see a world where Mason Taylor ends up in a Dolphins uniform. But make sure you are subscribed because even though Taylor, I don't think, has a future with the Dolphins, we will continue to break down every single Miami Dolphins draft piece of news and visits, the rumors as well. So hit that sub button today.